Cool round table, my lord. Who built it? Circumference. Welcome to the next iteration of the Bronze to GM series we have going on with AlphaStar. Now, sadly, I searched the entire replay pack through all the different folders, and there are no Terran AlphaStar versus Gold games. So we're just going to assume that AlphaStar beat that silver player so GD hard that it actually accelerated him or it through gold and is now playing against platinum players. So, to the top left, they are unknown to us, but we do know they are ranking in as a platinum player. And the machine of the hour in this ladder grind to the lower right, we do have AlphaStar. And already we're seeing a much improved placement for buildings compared to the last video. So this is something that is never really solved for AlphaStar. You know, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen the 60 plus videos we've put out there featuring GM play, it's never really perfect, but it does get better over time. And this is kind of that example right here where the first depot wasn't put in a weird spot, forcing 3 more to not build a wall. Oh, wow. Our platinum player is playing so freaking greedy. I know these are supposed to be about AlphaStar games, but to kind of go over this really quick, in some matchups, you can get away with this. TvZ, there was a time where players are playing really greedy. They go for these CC first builds. They could get away with it. In TvT, it's a lot more risky and not nearly as beneficial. Oh my god, what is this wild build? It's CC first into double racks, no gas, so it's just Marines pumping. The idea is that you're going to have a lot of extra money, 3 barracks now too. You're going to have a lot of extra minerals to work with, and I've done builds like this firsthand, actually. One of my favorite things when I was learning how to play Mech was I would CC fast to the low ground. I'd put my first depot out here, 2 barracks and another depot, and you'd have this wall that would cover 2 bases. And later on, fast forward years, like literally years later, and I've seen a couple of pros do this build once in a while, again, with the first wall off down here. Because if you go double racks Reaper from home, not proxied, followed up with a CC at home, you'll be safe behind a wall. It's a really cool way to play, but just to be clear, this is neither good nor efficient compared to the risk that comes associated with it. This is particularly susceptible to anybody who's going to just go all in as a Terran. So it's a little scary to do this, but just to be clear, AlphaStar has not scouted it, nor does AlphaStar, I think, have any plans to capitalize on this. It's often asked, you know, how does AlphaStar make its decisions? I can't speak for the team. I don't understand the complexities that is machine learning. I do know this, though. Of all the many games of AlphaStar I've covered, it does appear as if AlphaStar comes to these games with a plan preordained and then tries to execute it, and if it doesn't, you know, work exactly, then it just goes to brute force, right? I think a big misconception with people watching the AlphaStar videos is there is no real learning on the fly. AlphaStar doesn't identify a build and go, oh, that's really cool, beep boop, enter it into the programming and use it in the future. AlphaStar just has a way to play and then kind of adapts a little bit to situations. But aside from that, it does feel like there's no big tech swaps for a lot of these games, right? It's not like, oh, AlphaStar decided to experiment with Mech one game. It's always bio, it's always tanks, and it's always really good macro every single time. Now, these 3 Marines out of our wild platinum player have managed to get across the map. The Reaper didn't see this at all, so continue to be a little annoying in the main base, but actually maybe risk of taking some damage here at the natural. There are Marines to fight, so in a straight up fight, platinum player loses this battle, but I do believe their attention is spent. Yes, we're on the player vision for red right now, and they're looking in the main base for the Reaper. They completely ignored all of the Marines they'd sent across the map. A couple of stutter steps could have caught a mule or maybe 1 or 2 of the SCVs. So a cool, kind of cool idea, but unfortunately didn't really work in concept here. With a starport on the way for our human, and with 3 racks of production, I mean, that is a lot of production. It's funny seeing both of the tech labs come down, though, because they don't have enough gas to actually utilize both of them simultaneously at the moment. So no stim, no combat shields combo for like a +1 timing or anything like that. Let's not forget the medevac that they want to build out of the starport's also going to be another 100 gas. So kind of gas starved, more or less. AlphaStar does have a Liberator that was produced. It's wrapped around the top side. It's pretty well nestled back at home with a tank and several Marines. It would obviously be better if there was a bunker at the front, but not at all necessary. Especially with the lack of aggression really shown. The 3 Marines, I know Roofkin was just aggressive. What are you talking about? It's 3 Marines. It was a joke. It was like a bad practical joke on YouTube. Nobody cared about it. Liberator gets 1 shot off and then repositions. I'm not sure if this is just like the sickest bait and switch. Like AlphaStar just wanted to get the attention of Red, but Red is still storming across the map with a big chunk of units. However, they're going to be walking into tanks and Marines that do outnumber them. 16 to 10, 2 to 2. But I mean, tanks and Marines are over here, so it's realistically like, you know, 16 or 3 and 10 versus like, was it 8 or 9 and 1? I don't know, it's a numbers game that doesn't work out, and there's a Raven to go with this too. Now, you know this is the older patch of the game because Interference Matrix only costs 50 energy. I'm not sure if AlphaStar plans to utilize it or not, but it could totally just black out the tank. Auto turret could go down. I mean, these tanks don't even need to be sieged. The unsieged damage out of these tanks are just so raw and powerful. Interference Matrix absolutely goes down, but totally needless. Meanwhile, AlphaStar continues to muck around in the main base with this Liberator, who is apparently from Awkwardsville, USA. I don't know what this Liberator is planning to accomplish. It killed that 1 SCV and then has been like scared like a chicken away from these Marines. Double engineering base for Red. I mean, look, it's not about putting out all the things that are wrong, but the gas here is just, it's not being used. There's no stim, there's no combat shields, and there's no reason to go for double upgrades if you don't have your basics down. So, as I mentioned in the previous Zerg AlphaStar Bronze to GM grind, it is pretty much that topic where like Platinum's like the last road stop of like not great players. And I don't mean to disrespect any Platinum players tuning in, but I think you know it's true. I mean, your rank kind of says it, right? So the idea is that like when you get to Diamond, it's a little bit more try hard because it does feel like Diamond players have a better concept of the game overall and can start working on their mechanics a bit better. Whereas Gold and Platinum, you're still just kind of producing units. So in that regard, I would say kudos to Red. They have continued to produce units. They've had pretty good production for the most part. Oh, it's walled off. That's funny. So the SCVs are stacked. But the execution's kind of not there. The timings are a bit poor. The sensor tower is absolutely unnecessary. Just little things here that if our unknown player cleans up, they would easily bump up a rank in StarCraft without a doubt in my mind. It's tough though. It's not to be like, this is not brag worthy at all, but I haven't been this low of a league player in like a decade or more. It's weird to try and conceptualize what goes on in the heads of these guys at this level. Ooh, this landed bike is making a run for it, man. But anyways, neither here nor there, because we're not here to criticize the humans. We're here to watch and just kind of observe AlphaStar. What? Just drop an auto turret, man. There you go. Also, on the topic of my interchangeable lack of sticking to a pronoun for AlphaStar, I want to address this really quick. I see a lot of complaints that get upset when I refer to AlphaStar as a female or she or her. And I'm not doing this because I've got any political alignment. I don't think AIs have a gender, and I'm not mistaking that. It's just, I take this as like the old ship captain approach, right? Like, oh, the old gal, she's seen quite a few storms. That's kind of how I'm using AlphaStar in that reference. So as I continue to casually do it sometimes and not others, I just wanted to clear that up. By all means, if AlphaStar became like a Terminator style thing and developed an AI and took over the world and wanted to gender itself, by all means, go ahead. Just don't, I don't care. That's not why I'm saying it. So just putting that out there. Anyways, AlphaStar, whatever, has got Thors coming out, which is kind of funny and not at all necessary. Usually what we see with AlphaStar is a lot of tanks and Marines and not much variety of else. But in the weirdest time, and the only timeline I've ever seen AlphaStar dedicate to Mech, we actually have Mech play. This was exceptionally weird because I saw the double engineering bays go down, but it's actually lots of factories, no stim, no combat shields, and looking to push across the map. Mech is not really that acceptable in a lot of situations, and in TvT, it is actually exceptionally hard to pull off a good Mech build. Wait, hang on. Oh my god. So, Red, who's playing Bio with, by the way, still no stim pack despite the double upgrades, has built double armories. AlphaStar, who's playing Mech and could use double armories, has built double engineering base. There's just so much win going on in this game right now. I'm sorry, I had to take a pause. Yeah, definitely awkward out of both sides. AlphaStar marching down south to meet this army. If these had stim, I would say without a question of a doubt, with 1-1 especially, Red wins the battle, walking to unsieged tanks. But no stim walking into pre-sieged tanks, Red's going to lose that battle every time. So avoiding it entirely kind of works out. AlphaStar is now going to be given the choice to go and continue across the field and trade bases out, basically. Base trade on base trade TV, or come back home and defend. Command Center is already dead, so rather than go back and try and recover its losses... Man, I can't speak. I've lost the ability to speak. That's the only thing I do. AlphaStar has chosen to go full attack mode, and this is fine. You know, dog in a room on fire kind of meme. This is fine. It's really not. Vikings gonna take care of the Liberators. These Ravens still have plenty of energy, so any tanks out are just getting interference matrix. Hell, Marines on the backside might even have anti-armor placed on them. I don't know. Vikings might need to land. It's hard to say. Just kidding. These don't have stim. It's a massacre. Holy crap. What was I thinking? That wasn't even close to a fair fight. Steps out of the game too with 2,600 minerals in their pocket. GG. AlphaStar will continue advancing, and we'll see you for the diamond game next.